We still need lessons in reading the L here, but we're trying.
You're coming right along.
Well, good morning, everybody, and what a great scene to see a larger group joining us this morning. And we welcome the South Burlington Rotary Club for our first joint meeting in a while. I'm not sure how many years it's been, but it's been a little while, and so and it's the first time for me. So glad to see you all here. And welcome to our Zoom attendees as well. Hopefully you're getting a good view of the room here. I want to also, in addition to our many guests from the South Burlington Club, I also want to welcome our speaker, Hedayat Arya, who we'll be hearing from shortly. Bruce Wyatt, who's with us from the community, and Elaine. And are there any other guests that I may have missed? Well, just a few quick announcements, and then we're going to have our Rotary Minute from the president of the South Burlington Rotary Club. First off, as many of you know, we are planning a brand new fundraising event, a community event called the Bill Skip Story Slam. First ever will take place on February 10th. There's planning is very far along, but the group could still use a little more help. So Sherry, who is our lead organizer on the event, would love to find someone who would chair the judging committee. So that's recruiting and informing the judges on how to go about judging their competition. So if anyone's interested in that, if you could let Sherry know after the meeting, that would be appreciated. And we do want to let our guests know about this event. There's some flyers on the table that you're welcome to take with you. And we will be getting the word out to our neighboring Rotary clubs. But particularly if you are a storyteller and you enjoy a mock style storytelling event and think you can come up with a compelling 5-minute true personal story on the theme of hope, we would particularly love for you to join us and share your story with us. All right, and then Sally, did you want to? Where's Sally? There you are. Did you want to just say a word about the survey?
Yeah, just a reminder to you all, we sent out the survey about the senior luncheon. We really like your feedback. So please just do the survey. It'll take 2 minutes.
Very, very, very quick. You're really helpful as we work to keep that great event going every year. The final announcement I have is next week's meeting we had reserved for youth speech contest entrance, and it appears, as far as I know, we do not have any entrance. So my plan for next week is to use the meeting to further the planning on the Bill Skip Story Slam and for Sherry to present generally about the fundraising committee's work and engage us more thoroughly in the fundraising. She lost out on her time last week when we had our business meeting. So we'll make really good use of next week to talk about those things. And if anybody else has another important topic we should address at that time. All right, without further ado, I'll turn it over to Tom. And then we'll hear from our speaker and we'll reserving the last 15 minutes for fines. So get ready to share your happy and sad fines at the end of the meeting.
Great. Thank you, and thank you for inviting us here for your fellowship. I was asked to give a Rotary Minute, and so I'm going to talk about us. One of the great things about being a Rotarian is that you can go practically anywhere in the world and join in fellowship with other Rotarians through a meeting or meal or something like that, simply by maybe going on Rotary International and searching wherever you're going and looking up a meeting and reaching out. And I think that's a pretty cool feature of being a Rotarian. I'm a relatively new Rotarian, so I've tried to do that. I haven't been successful, but I'm looking forward to having some success in the future. I know that some of our members have done so. But I think that the advantage to that kind of thing is that hopefully when you share a fellowship, you get to know some other folks, you get to understand them a little bit more and, maybe can raise peace and understanding in the world. It so sorely needs. And so I think it was great that Sue and I were able to collaborate through, I think, Charlie's guidance to say, you know what? I'm gonna do this on a local level. Let's try to get our clubs together. And I know these clubs have gotten together in the past. So I'm really glad that we're able to pull this off today. And I already met a few fellow Rotarians locally here. And I think it's already improved my day and hopefully improved theirs as well. So here's to increasing peace and understanding in the world through fellowship.
Now I'll invite Dan.
Thank you, Susan. So a big welcome to all of our friends from South Burlington, and today's speaker actually resides in South Burlington. Hedayat Arya is co-founder of the Vermont Afghan Development Organization. He grew up in Eastern Afghanistan, trained as a civil engineer, and worked on a number of buildings, projects, which he'll talk about a little bit, in capacities such as area manager, research coordinator, and civil engineer, constructing school buildings for marginalized girls in hard-to-reach areas of Afghanistan. Hedayat was evacuated from Afghanistan on that day, August 27, 2021, when the democratic government collapsed and chaos ensued at the airport. However, his wife and 3 children remained in the country. He arrived in Vermont in November of 2021. And as I mentioned, he resides now in South Burlington and he's working in the construction business. So I'd like to welcome Hedayat Arya.
Thank you, Dan, for a nice and brief introduction. And it's a very wonderful morning to see new faces here and get to know about the community in Williston and also the South Burlington friends here. I have a brief presentation and I was attend a couple months ago. Mr. Pastor Paul invited me to the Rotary event. And when I see the stories and I was kind of interested, and later he invited me if I come and share my story. So I told him, yes, I can come and discuss about the situation happened back in Afghanistan. And so I'm very happy and I'm glad that I'm here and discuss something about Afghanistan and then about my story. So initially, I was thinking I will focus more about my personal story, but I was getting more emotional. Then I decided let's jump from that topic and discuss about the situation after 2013, about my working involvement back in Afghanistan, and also coming to Vermont and discussing its general broad topics to cover a few topics. So the presentation might not be like covering the different topic, very details, but it is a general overview starting from 2013 when I first started my working with international development sector back in Afghanistan. So anyway, going to that topic, I want to thank, special thanks to all of you for having me here. And I want to discuss about life stories and life journey. So I just put a statement here, life is a journey and we are all going through. This is a journey. And definitely everyone starting from young age and then going through this old age, everyone has different stories. And when a person coming from Afghanistan, there was like 40, 50 years civil war and constant displacement and refugee crisis and different other things is happening. So you might expect a lot of things, which is true. But I will just focus about situation that happened after 2013 and see and share my feeling and experience with you guys. So if you look to this slide, this is the Afghanistan map and this is my hometown. It is exactly in the northeast part of the country and it is similar to Vermont, the geographical location, land shape and greenness and mountains and water. So I would say this could be a deciding factor that why I chose to be here in Vermont, staying in Vermont. And I'm proud and consider myself a new Vermonter, and I love Vermont. So I grew and, but I grew that part and I complete my high school. And after that, when I complete my high school in 2009, and I was supposed to go to the university, as an older son taking responsibility of my young siblings and my sisters and brother, I did 2-year construction management, but I was unable to complete my bachelor. So I just stopped school and I started working at very young age with development sectors. So in 2012, I started my working in Afghanistan with the World Bank funded project and the east side of the country. Next slide. So if you see this picture is really located in the east side of the country, close to the Central Asia border. And the province name is VADO, this province, which was 1,500 kilometers away from my hometown. And this was my first assignment, going to that province and working with the development sectors, like working with the local communities, strengthen their capacity, engage them with the local infrastructure. So, and bringing these men and women together and build their capacity, what they need. So I start working with those communities. If you see, like, there is a lot of kind of desert and it's kind of different to my hometown. And when I first time go there and working with a big team and going to local community, I see like there was a lot of challenges, starting from like drinking water, girls' education, and access to the basic health services. So I served there for 2 years and worked with 103 communities, and we bring all communities together and we try to develop a lot of infrastructure building. And some cases we bring the men and women together and engage them in local dialogue and asking them what they really need. And there was a sweet moment for me when I was visiting those communities. And men and women, they were coming together and they're saying, we need a community center where we all get together and celebrate our gathering, annual gathering, like wedding ceremony and different things. So I served that district and 103 communities. So there was a lot of challenges, there was a lot of success. And so I worked there and it was a wonderful since 2013 till 15. Next slide. If you see, I'm in the middle of those community leaders, you might see. So I was there and worked with those communities, and when I was there, I realized like the girls' education, almost education was a big issue there. The community was there, the parents was very interested, but we didn't have any schools in the very rural communities. And there was something in my mind, and then luckily I was promoted to a new position to the main office in capital city. When when I started my second assignment in Kabul, and I talked to the executives, hey, the World Bank is funding us, and there is a lot of opportunity we can focus. So education was the new opportunity we started. So we discussed in a formal meeting, and we come with idea we can target 10 provinces where we can focus about girls' education. It's like education, but priority was to the girls because girls not having access to their schools. And second challenge was that like the school was too far in those rural parts, and summer and the winter kids were unable to go to the like miles and miles. So due to the rain, weather, and then if like a school is 5 or 6 miles away, how they will go for a kid like 6 years, 7 years, so. And then geographical location was also a big factor. So coming to Kabul, we discussed with our management and we decided let's start accelerate learning. And there was another good initiative. What we did, we discussed with the whole team and we target 10 provinces. And we hired team members and they went to those local community and they surveyed. For example, they went to a community where the community consists of like 20, 25 or 30 households. And they did survey how many kids we have there. If the kids number is around 30, we try to find a local teacher in that community, no matter if someone who could complete like 9th grade or 10th grade, we ask her to start a school. And we asked this the teacher to specify a room in her house and pay some incentives and then give some extra money. And our organization, we supply all the learning materials. So exactly this picture, I did in Simon in the north, all these girls coming from the local communities to the teacher house, and they are learning. And we started like from grade 1 to grade 5. And each grade was 6 months. After completing 6 months, they were going to the new grade. And then we have the learning capacity training for the teacher. And when they complete the grade 6, so their age was they were getting younger, and then they were in the position to go to a little further school. So next slide. So if you see this picture, when we start those schools and those local community, and we saw like, there is 5 schools we have in one district, but we don't have a very modern building for them. And when they reach to the grade 5, and then we were unable what they will do now. So then we decided we need a building for them. And we start a school building was a new idea, and we did a lot of schools, and we bring those local schools to their school with the teacher, and it turned to a formal school and continued to till grade 9. So this is their in Hedayat province, and exactly I was working on both sides, and not more a technical engineer, but more working with the organization to develop some policies and changes and bringing initiatives. So we built this film, and these are the students that the day when we bring these 5, 6 schools together to that school building. So I just give this picture if you want to see more. So next slide. So, okay. This was one part, starting from 2001 and my generation as a young generation, there was opportunities, international community, World Bank and different organization was working, girls used to go to school. Me as a person raised after 2001, like I was very young, and when the 9/11 happened, and then I went to school, and there was a very hope for everyone. So this is the picture like before 2000, before the regime changed. So girls used to go to schools, women's engagement and development sectors, men's, and there was a hope for the future, for the better future. But in 15 August, things changed unexpectedly. So go next slide. So after 15 August, I didn't have experience of the Taliban regime before, right? Because my dad used to say like they had a government, and then 9/11 happened, the government was replaced, and was very young, but I didn't experience their government. And my hope and the young generation, they were not expecting like what will happen. And we were just hearing the Taliban and that things was happening in different provinces, but no one was expecting that they will come and take the power. So on 15 August, as a normal day, I was in my office with other colleagues, and we saw security alarm that the Taliban entered the Kabul city. And President Ghani left the country, and that was the day, I mean, I would say the black day for young generation started. So go to the next slide.
Live and exclusive pictures here from inside the presidential palace. What you are looking at right now is Taliban fighters inside the presidential palace. This is these pictures exclusive on Al Jazeera. We've been watching them for a few moments now, milling around.
So yeah, they entered to the Kabul, and that was the worst memory in my life. So when I saw these news, still shaking my mind like how it happened. So they entered to the Kabul airport, and then they controlled the power very dramatically, very quickly. No one was expecting. And from day one, after 15 August, the first things they put restriction after restriction, sanction, restriction. And it's not like something, but I don't know, their radical extremist idea might be, if you the local and public doesn't want their ideas, but they're opposed to do that. So if you see this picture, it's exactly before August. It's one of the famous TV and television and Afghanistan news. So if you see the news reporter, there is no face cover, and she's representing or she's reading the news. But after 15 August, they put these things. They ask the female reporters or news reporter to cover their faces. So see, covering faces and reading news would be a very tough for them. And I mean, imagine how hard for these reporters, but things happen. Next slide. So after 15 August, the government collapsed and Taliban controlled the whole country. And people like me who used to work in development sector, working with the girls' education and direct, indirect supporting the democratic process, attending to the election things and encouraging people to go to school. So things happen and thousand families, especially those that are working in the government structure, they were uncertain and they were feeling risk if they stay in the country, what will happen? So there in this picture, if you see, those are the families that made to the airport and they're inside the airport, and imagine how many people like me and 1,000 more, they were outside, stuck outside the airport and tried to go to inside. So after 15 August, the evacuation started, and luckily I would say more than 80,000 Afghan made to the US with the support of the US support. But still there are thousands of people, their families still left behind. So after 15 August, Kabul airport situation was total chaos, and it was, I can't imagine how things was. Everyone was trying to go to the airport, especially those that were working in the government structure, and they were feeling risk, which is true. And because the Taliban took power and they will torture their families, they will kill or they will do whatever they can do it. So people is trying, in this picture, if you see, this is exactly the situation, families and individuals entering to airport, and after entering to airport, they're coming to the US. The kid doesn't have any shoe, doesn't have shoes. This is why like some of the families were uncertain. They just take their families without having their stuff and just try to enter to the airport and make their way to any part of the world to find a safe and safe life. So next slide. So since I was working with government and I feel myself under risk, so after 15 August, I try not to go my home and talk to my wife and kids to collect their bags and everything and be ready if we can find a way to enter to the airport. And I talked to my colleagues who are working with the US, and they try and we attend a few times, but it didn't work because outside the airport was controlled by the Taliban, and inside there was the evacuation, and different countries was evacuating their employees, their embassy workers and different things. So I tried a few times, and I was at the time, me and my wives, we were supposed to enter and we were in the main gate. Explosion happened 200 or 300 meters away in another gate where 13 brave US Army and then more than 100 Afghan lost their lives. So seeing that situation, and then I feel like we cannot make this. I cannot make that. I talked to my wife and she can go leave the Kabul and go to the countryside and stay with her parents. But I will try to stay in Kabul and just hiding, look at the situation and find my way to the US. So luckily in 27 August, again, I get text from inside from my colleagues, US friends, asking me if I can go to the North Gate. There was a different gates and they were like handling people. And I went there and I luckily entered at the last minute. 27 was the last and 31st was just closing the mission. So no one would be in the airport. Things would be controlled by the Taliban. So at the same day I entered, and this is the situation when we were lined up, and I made in 27, I guess, enter, and the same night we use through the airport, US airplane. We started from there, from Kabul, and landed in Bahrain. So next slide. So from Kabul, started to Bahrain. So we were there in the military base for 2 days, and from Bahrain. Next slide. Yes. Bahrain International ended in DC. There was a very within 3 days I was in US in 4 days, and no one was believing. So, and one aspect, I was the luckiest person that I took that last minute risk and I made it. But it was a good journey, starting direct from Bahrain and ended in Washington Dulles International Airport. Next slide. So Again, another journey started. So arriving to DC, and from there we went to the Wisconsin. And soon I landed in Wisconsin, bought my career in the military base. Again, I saw there was more than 13,000 Afghans were evacuated, and they were there, and their process was going on. And I realized, and I talked to the management of that military and asked them, like, we have 13,000 Afghan, and we try to establish, because I know the challenges that Afghan facing. And some of them were mostly working with the military as a soldier or guards, and they don't know how to speak English. And those families there for maybe they will be there and they come for 2 and 3 months. So we have to engage in some social activities and some learning opportunities for them. So we talked to the management and they appreciate. And the first time we start a school and that come, they give a complex and we brought those all different girls, women's in different classes, and we walk around and finding some teacher, volunteer teacher, male and female, and ask them, hey, we are here and we're just going to kitchen, having food, but we are nothing. We are not doing anything. Since this family is going out from this base, then they need to know at least some English, and they need to know about some culture, about the system. So with that mentality, we start a school. This is exactly school I started, and inside the Wisconsin, and there is a variety of age of students is there. So we teach them the basic English and also help them around the camp, because most of family was coming with nothing. They just take their families and kids come with nothing. And they were inside the military camp, and it was September, which is cold in Wisconsin. So I tried to go to the donation center, collecting these shoes, cloth, and then distribute it around and walking around the camp and finding if someone needed. So next slide. This is another picture. This is all the social activities and volunteer work we did inside the camp. And that initiative brought a lot of changes in the camp. And different places, the school started, and women's and girls and boys try to do volunteers work. And most of those class, the students, they learn basic conversation English in 2 months, and they start say their names, write their names, and discuss a little bit more. So this is like a family that they just married, and the family was the luckiest. They come with the whole family. So most of the family were the luckiest. They come with their kids and everything, but the challenge was there, they didn't have enough cloth and everything. So we tried to go to the donation center and collect those things and distribute. So this way I keep myself busy, not to think about my family, and just try to help as much I can. So next slide. And late November, from Wisconsin, I chose to come to Vermont. I was trying to go to New York, and then I chose searching New York, which area would be better, Buffalo or other areas. And there's a big community, Afghan community in California and Texas. So people are asking me why you're not going to Texas. I told them I want to go to a little bit different place. So, and then I believe I saw some picture of Vermont on internet. That picture, the colorful picture, attract my attention. I told him I want to go to these states. So yeah, I chose Vermont, not going to New York. So the next slide. Okay, coming to Vermont as a refugee, thinking about my family, situation happening, always stressful, and coming with nothing. When I ended here, staying in the host family, as a person speak both national language of Afghanistan, Persian and Pashto. And we were the first Afghan, and then we saw like families coming to Vermont from different camps, and evacuation process ended and families settling in different states. So here families settle was in Vermont, many family came, but they don't know how to speak English, and some of the family was exactly from the south part of the country. They were not familiar with the cold weather. So I was getting calls from those families, and being as a refugee inside of Vermont, doesn't know about where to work and staying with the host family for 20 days, again start working with those communities and addressing their needs, communicate with volunteers. And I was getting calls from the volunteers who are supporting in the community, these families, and I was just doing over the phone translation. So their engagement start, and through that network, I meet with Bruce and Pastor Paul and different other volunteers. And luckily with collaboration with Williston Church, we organized last year in March a culture Nowruz, which is a New Year, Persian New Year, and Burlington. And that event, I brought those all families together because some of them was stress, mental stress, a big change for them. Some of them, their family was left behind. So I bring those all together and encourage them to participate with me, meet, and also the same way, the community who were supporting those families. And I also invite them together to celebrate these events. So there was a food and there was all the Afghan families was there. Then the community members were there and different other actors. So this is a picture and you might see Bruce was there, but I don't know where I just put it. So there is all Afghans, families were there and it was a wonderful event. So again, my interaction with the community started in Vermont again, starting in Afghanistan and then Vermont. Next slide. So I have a few pictures of my kids, so I don't want to discuss more. Next slide. So these are my kids. So that one is my older daughter. Now she is maybe more than 5. The second one is my son. And she was 3 months old when I left the country. So now she's almost 2.5. Next slide. See, her mom was working in the health sector, my wife, and she's 7 months ago, her mom sent this picture. So since she's not working in health sector anymore, and she has her stethoscope, so this is why she liked maybe to be a doctor, but once she came here, so she liked to do her chest and doing something. Okay, next slide. So as I went through these challenges and seeing those all journey of the refugees back here in Afghanistan, and I feel like the families and they already made here, they are wonderful. They are getting support from the US government agencies and community. And the kids are learning English very quickly. Initial days, the parents was calling me and the community, but now I'm not getting that much calls. That's why their kids is learning English and they are doing translation for their parents. So I mean, in the beginning, they are facing a little bit challenges like some language, culture, understanding the system, but saying there's after 6 or 7 months, family is doing great, and especially the kids. Next slide. So working with the Afghan communities here and back there, people like me, I know English, I can communicate, I can express my feeling, I can share my story with the people, and I can go and ask for the support if I need. But there is still some people, they don't know. They're the young adults. They came like me, but they were in the soldiers. Their families still left behind. And I feel like there is an area where we can work. So the families here, the organizations, community supporting them, but that target group, which their families left behind, their story is very untold. And no, it's a kind of upstream, no one is really don't want to look to that because their family is there and no one is thinking about that. So I decided that running a nonprofit named Vermont Afghan Development. Again, I love Vermont and I put the name here, the naming Vermont Afghan Development. So to work with these Afghan communities and discuss especially with those their families still left behind and they're in the process to come here. So socially, emotionally, and mentally work with those people and encourage them and show the process. So, and sharing my experience. So I run for this nonprofit and I'm trying, it is not well organized, but still a kind of volunteer base. I'm working with the community, especially with that target group. So, and I'm hopeful in the future, try to do something for those families. Okay, next slide. Okay, so yeah, if you need, we definitely still need support. If anyone want to support this reunification process, so we are here, and if you have any question, if anyone want to meet with me, so I'm more than happy to meet with anyone. So feel free and reach out. Next slide. Maybe do you have others? No, that's it. Okay. So yeah, this was a brief presentation. I don't want to keep long and boring for you guys. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you so much.
there any questions?
Yeah, a lot of questions.
I have
Okay.
one, yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead, you're our guest, go ahead.
I was just curious, were you ever able to complete your bachelor's degree?
Oh, this is a wonderful question. So I really like the question you asked me. So I always passionate to complete my bachelor back in Afghanistan. And when I moved to the Kabul city in 2015, and I complete 2019 and 2021, the government collapsed. So I complete my bachelor, but I'm more interested to do my master here in the US. So I recently applied to the Clarkson to do master in construction civil engineering, and they accept my application. And luckily I have a meeting today. I'm thinking it might be a little bit different topic, so I'm working and deciding whether I stop working and go there, and I will talk to them about the financial status, how much they're asking, because I'm still supporting my family back there, my wife and 3 kids. I'm not sure whether I will go there, but I applied and they accept my application. So I will talk to them how much they are asking me, whether I can afford or not. So, yeah.
What's it gonna take to get your family there?
So the family was already in this pipeline in the system, so I applied and recently my asylum is approved, so we already submit the documents for them. So I'm very optimistic within the next 6 months, but I'm not sure, it took almost 2 years, didn't happen, so I don't know. It is still a lengthy process, yeah.
Thank you. Does your organization also work with the Vermont Afghan Alliance that is established in?
Yeah, we have some collaboration with Afghan Alliance and we have collaboration with UCRI, but my focus is a little bit focusing about the target group. Their family is still back there and they're living here. So support that group, not more focusing here. So it's more about the transit countries, support those families. Yes.
Thank you.
Anyone? Okay.
So I'm the operations manager for the Williston Food Shelf. And just so you know, our food shelf has decided that if any Afghan refugees come and want food, we'll give them food. We don't have halal meats is a
Okay.
problem. But any of our other foods are available to anybody from any town who's an Afghani. So just so you
Okay.
know.
Yeah, definitely. I will share this message.
It's a little tricky if they don't speak any English.
Yeah, yeah. that is-
But they are welcome.
Yeah, thank you. Anyone else? Okay.
Is the current government cooperating with families that want to leave the country?
No. But still, it is compared to the initial days in 2001 situation, a little bit normalized. But still, you know, it is a risky things. And my kids and wife is not living in Kabul. They're living in the countryside with their parents because they have a community support and her mom and parents will take care more than being in Kabul. And the only things keeping yourself a very low profile and just not to discuss things, you know, sometimes things would happen, like anything could happen anytime. So it's risky, but still sometimes, yeah. Yes.
Do you see a path anywhere down the road where Afghanistan can become more normalized, where the government can be more attentive to the people, where it's less militant?
I think when 2020, the peace deal started, and especially the neighboring countries, they did a lot of lobbying inside Afghanistan, like Iran, Pakistan, because they had a good influence for the Taliban. And they were doing lobbying, you know, the Taliban is changed. They are not 1995, they are changed, their mentality is changed. This is why, like, some people was kind of feeling like things would change and they will not do what they will have everything, but soon they took power. So they change and the things they have, they can apply those. In the future, I'm really not optimistic because that country has been like 40 years, and the war is not the civilians, the main casualty of the civil war, but it's always the political neighboring countries, and then different other factors. I would say the geographical location of that country is a big challenge, being in the central of Asia and having neighbors with different countries. Everyone tried to have a kind of influence. Yeah. Yes.
Are there any airlines from any countries flying in and out on a regular basis?
Yeah, not international, but there is like domestic things going inside the country, and also there's flights going from Abu Dhabi to Afghanistan, and I don't know, Pakistan, Iran, maybe China, I don't know exactly, but yes, there is flights. Yes.
Does your wife have a community of anybody else who's going through the same situation as she is within Afghanistan, or is she taking this alone?
There's a number of families having the same issue, but it's in different communities, not in the same community. But my wife is like, I would say she was used to work in the health sector as a midwife. So for 2 years, she's not working anymore and just staying home. Yeah. If I understand your question correctly.
Is she safe?
She's at the moment, yes, she is safe and staying with her parents, but I decided that I want to relocate them to the second and third country, either go to India or Turkey. So, which they will stay there for a few months until coming here, so it's again, financial wise, and then look into this. There are different things need to be done. Yeah. Anything else? Yeah, I think we're done.
Thank you. So thank you, Hedayat, and contribution will be made to the youth mentoring program at Wilson Central Schools in your name. So
Okay.
thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, Susan? Oh, yes.
After your presentation, we have one more task for you, which is to draw a.
Draw the winning number.
Just take one.
Yes, and read the last 3 digits.